So what we're talking about today are the pitfalls of content marketing. So one of our customers is in the financial sector. They were looking to really enter the market with two major objectives. And that's one of the big things, is make sure that your objective is correct when it comes to content marketing, right? So you have to have the right strategy in place, and you really have to just keep your focus on that objective. So they wanted to use content to bring in potential clients and at the same time raise some awareness about their brand. What we decided to do was really take a step back and look at how content can play a role here. And what we hit them back with was really the approach on education. And when you consider educational content, it is sort of this backdoor entrance into building loyalty, brand awareness, and also just, again, making better investors.
For that client, we ended up creating over 100 videos. And there seems to be this tendency to get nervous about that. When you see too much of the same thing, you tend to pull back. Like, do we need something different? Is this overdone? If you develop an audience, people that are coming back and engaging with what you're producing,
right.
They expect something from you.
Mm-hmm.
They expect it to be a certain way. They want to come back for what value you've provided them already.
We're no longer consumers where we're passively receiving information from our brands. We're engaging, we're interacting, and there is that expectation.
It's really finding that balance between what you can offer that your viewers want to engage with and where that fits best with the type of content they're already consuming on those platforms.
So when you talk about your audience base and how they're interacting with your brand, that also brings up where they're interacting with your brand. So tons of social networks out there. I think that when you start to really analyze that, you start to understand that there are huge differences throughout each channel, and some that you might not even think were going to directly affect the response or the effectiveness of your content, but it really does.
Some things don't belong on certain platforms. If you have content to offer that's very visual, that might be a fashion brand or a skincare brand or a makeup brand, that's something that's prime for Instagram. Whereas, if what you're doing is more thought leadership focused, or you're solving problems in a longer format, like a blog, that's something that would exist on Facebook.
Another thing that we hear a lot is that content's very difficult to produce, and we kind of look at that as a myth, right? So you have to be in the right mindset, you have to find the right partnership.
You want to make sure that those objectives are baked into the process. You've got somebody who understands the importance of starting with an objective and finding a way to hit that.
So the way we approach it is we look at the budget, we understand what the objectives are, and then we propose something that might be more bite-sized to align with the budget. And maybe you go towards animation versus live action. Those are all things that really influence the cost. So while there's a lot of things that might be obvious when it comes to content production, you have to make sure that across the board is you're just not looking at it as a producing piece, but you're thinking about your strategy. So it's content production, content strategy, which will shape your content marketing.